It's night outside. A horrible noise is hurting your ears. You take the most important things with you and silently go outside the house. Your bodies remain curved by walking, as it seems you're less visible this way. In fact, there is panic around, and you are invisible to others. You cannot decide whether you should run or go slowly. You change between the tempos, and you're still doubting whether it was a good idea to start this journey. You don't talk to each other, but the eyes are telling more than enough. Look into each other's eyes. What do you see there? Is it fear? Is it excitement? Is anything new scary and exciting at the same time?
Have you ever started to read a book from the last page? Or maybe you know the exact ending of your favorite symphony. In my German dictionary, the last word is 12. Do you even use dictionaries?
You continue walking curved till you reach a great field outside the city. You walk curved until the very center of it and remain there. There is no movement, just tension, horrible tension in all the muscles of the body. Only eyes are moving freely, trying to calm your mind. The eyes are watching the wind, which grows into a hurricane. You have to go further and get to the closest forest.
What is the last sentence of Terms and Conditions? What is the last word of the Bible? We often know what the story is about.
You're probably the first people who have ever stepped into that forest. It is very tricky to get through that. Tree branches don't allow you to get through. So you give them your skin on the arms and legs to get hurt, but not the most precious thing you have with you. You don't talk to each other, but you know what the other person would tell you. How much time is enough to get completely exhausted while getting through the branches? After this amount of time, one of you falls down and asleep immediately afterwards. What a coincidence. The sleep heals the wounds of the body and heart. The other person follows the example, but is totally unsure while doing that, lying down and pretending to sleep with the most active eyes in the whole world.
We know everything about the culmination point, but nothing about the exact ending. Have you ever started to read a book from the last page? I have one very interesting book to show
Night
you.
was calm, and now you have to continue your journey again. You hear the sound of water not far away, and you walk there slowly with a little smile on your face. Water means life for everyone. That is the first time when you can walk with a straight backs and breathe deeply.
That is the most important book in your life. Notebook. If you don't have one, you have a problem.
The river is here now, just in front of you. You know that the river is a border. Why do you know that?
Or maybe you don't have any problems because you are not a part of the system. I'm talking about your passport. Here is what is written on the last page of the European passport.
Collecting anything that would help you to get to the other side. Help me is the first sentence pronounced since you had left. Everything would have been much more easy if you wouldn't need to carry your most precious thing ever.
This passport is the property of the Republic.
Everything seems to be good now. The hard part is behind you. You believe so for now, but I know that much worse experiences are coming. What is harder, to be physically or mentally exhausted? Do those two things influence each other? I know the answer, but you still have to find out.
The holder of this passport is under the protection of the Republic. The government of the Republic requests all those whom it may concern to allow the holder to pass freely without let or hindrance.
You see some buildings. It's safe here. Everyone is calm and quiet. Nobody is paying much attention to you. Why not enter that lovely town, as it might be the town of your future?
And to afford such assistance and protection as may be necessary. This passport is valid to travel to all countries.
The officials come to you and ask to show your notebooks. You don't have them. You never needed them in the place you lived, as the chaos was big enough that nobody cared about any papers or documents. Unfortunately, here you have a problem.
The holder of this passport is entitled to depart and enter the Republic. So let's start with some explanations. The most important notebook in your life technically doesn't belong to you.
You landed in a great, safe place where notebooks decide everything. If your notebook is good enough, you're a good person. You are waiting still for a decision to be made by the authorities. You cannot move or talk, and everything you think about it is, why is a piece of paper more important than us?
According to the actual owner of that notebook, or better said, according to the owner's relationships.
You cannot stay outside. You have to sit in the box. In the box behind the grid. Without any sunlight or clock to follow. You hear the sound of clock far away from you, and every second seems to last forever. You stay here for a long time. much longer than anyone is supposed to stay under arrest without any information.
You are going to have more or less freedom in moving around the world. And not only that. There are places. Let's pretend we have never heard of those places. Where people are getting paid according to the origin
Are
of their
your
notebook.
thoughts about that?
You can ask me more on that after the piece is done.
Are you regretting anything you did in your life or anything you did to each
Also,
other?
the first impression is very important.
What has left?
For that, people tend
Only
not
the
to
most
look
precious
into your
thing you
eyes,
have.
but a bit lower. On what
Now
kind
you
of
have to
notebook
give
you
it
are
away.
going to show them.
Because you don't have any notebook for
When
it.
do you think was made the first kind of document like this?
You just gave it away.
In the 19th century? Maybe Middle Age? Maybe ancient Greece? No. It was 450 years before Christ.
What's now?
Nehemiah.
You're
2
walking
verse
towards
7.
the old-fashioned simple buildings.
I also said
They
to
have very
him,
neutral vibe,
if it pleases
but they
the
don't
king,
have any
may I
soul,
have letters
if you know
to
what
the
I mean.
governors of
What could you do
transfer
there?
rates, so that they will provide me
Without
safe
the most
conduct
important thing you had?
until I arrive in Judah.
What has left?
And because the
How do you
gracious
feel
hand
about
of
that?
my God was on me,
You can
the
just
king
sit
granted my
and wish for a
requests.
better life. Sit there and think about apples, coffee, and chocolate.
Let's come back
Why
to the
those
21st
three?
century, where many owners of certain notebooks are not allowed to enter Israel, where one cannot enter Afghanistan with South Korean notebook.
You can sit there, sleep there, cry there, everything there in one room. You sit, and it will always remain this way until something changes. Maybe it will never change and you'll remain seated for many years. Now it has been 1 year since you have been sitting. What was the last thing you heard from each other? Help me. You do pronounce the same thing now, but only in your soul, and only very carefully and silently with the muscles of your heart. You are not sure who is listening to you, but someone is certainly listening. Someone is certainly there for you. That is what you hear between the rhythm of your pressure performing on the blood cells. How deep in the center of the heart, and why cannot it hurt?
Where Armenian notebook is not allowed for traveling to Azerbaijan. That is all extremely frustrating, and finally that's all about notebooks. Notebooks, who don't even belong to people carrying them.
The year had passed, and you risked to look outside the door. You saw the border and the city behind that. The city of happiness. The city of great life.
An external object which gives oneself a meaning and protection. Maybe that is the protection from the other notebooks? We have a notebook.
One of you
world.
decides to leave the house while the other one is sleeping. You found the gun inside the house and you took it with you. What do you do with that? Don't kill the man who is standing between you and the absolute happiness which awaits you in the city.
When we won't write anymore, although I hope this moment will never come. The last piece of paper will be that notebook.
What are the stars around? What are the lights under the feet?
Do you actually feel protected? Even the insurance doesn't give me the impression to be protected. And my notebook, what it does, it makes me forever dependent on constantly reflecting on it. That reflection is always happening. There is no application form without a question of nationality, which in the end is the nationality of a notebook.
Everything disappears.
Maybe my
when
notebook
you're
should
at
have the
home.
word to fill out all of those application forms.
The moment you left home,
It knows everything about me,
you left
my special
life
features,
on
travels,
earth.
reasons of travels, physical appearance. I'm sure somewhere is the information about my mental health and budget.
was. Progressive philosophical audience lawyer, Sir Yuri.